Well, then the last question is kind of a technical one on a cosmic level. Every person there has an inner being. Does it make a difference if I, before the gathering, invite those inner beings, invite those ancestors, or are they just there anyway?
It doesn't matter if you say it openly, because non-physical, we are all engaging with one another. And the fact that you've already come as a cluster together, all of those inner beings are already there. And so when you find harmony with yours, you have found harmony with theirs. But you finding harmony with yours and theirs doesn't necessarily mean that they are ready.
Right.
But there is a greater probability, now that you've found harmony with your inner being and theirs, that they might too, because you're sort of a vibrational bridger. That's what attractive means. When you're all tuned in, tapped in, turned on, when you know something. If you go to a doctor and he sees you and acknowledges what your current condition is, and he is knowledgeable and assures you that this remedy will be helpful for you, doesn't that feel different than when he looks at you if he goes, oh my God?
So is that what charisma is?
Same thing.
Just this perfect alignment and
because there's
knowing.
Such a leverage. When we talk about your inner being and we talk about law of attraction's response to your inner being, think about that power, think about that leverage, and when you tap into it, you radiate in a very powerful way. And think about when you're all pinched off from it, how the opposite of that is happening. So it's difficult for teachers, because in the beginning what most of you do is you look for someone who needs you, which means you're looking for those least ready for you.
My attention always goes
and
there.
Then you send out a brochure and you gather them all together, a whole room full of people who really need you. And then you walk in all tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and immediately you look like a freak to them because they're not ready for you. But you have to not care how they are responding to you, because if you give your attention to their reaction to you, then you join them usually.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So what we're really talking about here, we're talking about you, we're talking about vibration, we're talking about law of attraction, we're talking about law of attraction meaning response to your vibrational output. So what we're really talking about is your vibrational output. That's really the only thing that you ever need to think about or know about, is what's the mix of my vibration. I have a desire and a doubt. That's me. Well, you know how far that's going to get you. Or I have a desire that's just going to continue to bring more and more momentum. So think about it. When you were younger, or maybe yesterday, or maybe yesterday you were young. So think about going someplace that you dreaded going. Maybe to your first day on a job, maybe to a job interview, maybe to take a test for your education, maybe to meet someone, something that's new to you, something that you're not really ready for, but you're going to go do it because you should, or because somebody set the appointment, or because you have to go. This is the way a lot of your world is oriented. Do the uncomfortable thing long enough, they tell you, and it will become comfortable. And we say, no, it won't. It will just become uncomfortable in increasingly other ways. You might get used to it. The discomfort might not feel as uncomfortable because you might adjust to the discomfort, but it doesn't yield you better and better and better things when you approach it from that way. So let's say that you go feeling like that. So think about the vibration that you bring to the mix, because anytime you come into a room, every moment is a manifestation. This is a manifested moment, and this combination of all of us is part of the manifestation. In other words, we are manifesting here together. And so you look around, what you see is a manifestation, what you feel, you have your ability to utilize the physics of this world and to contemplate how many square feet there are and how many people there are sitting in this square feet and what the temperature of the air is and what the lighting is like. In other words, your observation is an observation of a manifested moment. So we are having a manifested moment together. And in this manifested moment, there is a mix of vibration. Now, What you have noticed, perhaps it's certainly something that Esther has noticed, because Esther comes with Abraham and all of your inner beings. The balance of the room is always energetically very, very good, because there's a leverage in this energy. It doesn't matter how much you doubt your ability to do something, that doubt cannot be a big player in this energy mix, because this energy mix brings non-physical energy leverage with it. And so in many cases, you are more likely to understand things that you usually don't understand, or to feel movement within yourself that you usually don't feel, because that's what the balance of the energy is. Well, let's say that you're not coming to a gathering like this. Let's say that you're just going to meet someone. Let's say you're going to that first day on that job or whatever it is, and you are not happy about going. You didn't meditate. You didn't come into alignment with who you are. You went because you needed to go. You went because somebody said you should go, and you walk in and you don't have much or any of that leverage of all of that energy. And now you are just sort of, victim is too strong of a word, but you are an experiencer of whatever the mix of energy is that's going on in that room. Maybe it's a room full of complainers. Maybe it's a business that's failing. Maybe it's a group of people that aren't very happy. And so as you come into it, the question that we think would be a good thing for you to ask yourself is, what am I adding to this mix? What am I adding to the mix of my life manifestations? We're saying this to you as part of the sales job that we're doing about meditation. Because right now, if you haven't been meditating, or if you haven't had the experiences that we're talking about with meditation, if you haven't managed to really quiet your mind, and you haven't felt that detached feeling, so you haven't really stopped your own thoughts, so you haven't really stopped resistance, so you haven't really gone to no momentum and then stayed there long enough that the momentum begins to increase, then you really don't know yet on a personal first-hand basis about the magic that we're talking about that will bring to you. You don't yet know the feeling of doors opening everywhere, or of people greeting you who recognize on some level the value that you have for each other. Life hasn't become easy for you yet if you haven't done these things yet that we're talking about. But once you have, Esther will say, it's the magic back. And she knows it's not magic. It's the invincibility back. It's that leverage of this energy that creates worlds flowing through you. So when you are moving through life, moving through the airport, walking down the street, walking around the loop, going to the grocery store, driving in traffic, talking to a friend, doing whatever it is that you are doing, from that place of allowing that momentum to increase and increase and increase till you are radiating the fullness of who you are, you're just taking our word for it that you have access to this leverage. Most people don't let that leverage get big enough that it amounts to anything tangible, because they're so busy weighing the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minus. And mostly we love you so much observing what is. What is the manifestation of any moment? The manifestation, the see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it manifestation that you have wholeheartedly and enthusiastically agreed to come and participate in, because of the contrast and the newness that it produces for you and all of us. That's where all of the resistance is. There is resistance, and there always will be resistance in your manifested world. But if you have meditated and therefore diluted it, and meditated and diluted it, then you've got the best of all worlds. Then you get to sift and sort and decide and line up with, and you can feel the power of the universe yielding to you and guiding you so that you're in the right place at the right time. And most important, this is the thing that we want you most to hear about what we've been talking about. Yes, we want things to manifest for you. We want you to have your beach homes if you want them, and your beautiful vehicles, and your lovely relationships, and anything else that this life has inspired you to desire. We want you to have all of that. But even more, we want you to discover how to be satisfied, and then satisfied, and then satisfied, because that's where happily ever after comes from. If you're without it and without it and without it, without it, without it, without it, without it, and then thinking that it's going to come and then you'll be happy, you will be happy maybe for a minute, but it's not sustainable. It's the understanding what happiness is, and what happiness is focus with little or no resistance. It's belief in something. It's knowing that it can be. It's positive expectation. It's love, not hate. It's clarity, not confusion. It's going with the flow of something rather than against the flow of something. And so we like teaching happily ever after, but it's a little bit difficult to teach it to those who are still waiting for the manifestation before they really feel happy. So what Esther said to us, this stuff's fine, Abraham, but I really like it when something manifests. And what we want her to know, and we know she acknowledges it, what we really like is your conscious acknowledgement of the increasing momentum that you are controlling through the focus of your own mind. Deliberate creation is so delicious, and creation by default is so not. We think this is a really good time for a segment of refreshment. Yeah.